Hey guys, it's Anthony from 30 Plus Fitness, and today we are going to be looking at Bloodsport. This is the new release from Caplight on 4K and Blu Ray, and this is the Steelbook edition. There is a couple of Mediabook editions which we'll talk about later on. But before we do that, if you like martial arts, fitness and movies, especially from the 80s, the 90s in Hong Kong and Hollywood, please subscribe to the channel. Obviously leave a comment, click the bell button, and you'll get my latest videos when they're released. So before we do that, let's go through a bit of the history, my personal history with Bloodsport. I saw the film on its original theatrical release in the UK, and that was in September of 1988. Van Damme had actually appeared on the cover of Combat magazine in October of 1987, so obviously there was quite a lot of hype, especially martial arts circles, for the release of this film. I couldn't drive at the time and it wasn't on a local cinema, so I actually persuaded my mum to drive me to Salford Quays, which was a new multiplex at the time, and we watched the movie together. So thank you very much for that, Mum. It means a lot. And obviously it's kept my interest in martial arts and fitness all these years, and it's been an inspiration with Enter the Dragon just to keep me motivated. So a funny story as well, there was about a year's gap from the actual theatrical release till it actually came on video, and through a Bruce Lee fanzine I persuaded an Australian fella to actually send me Enter the Dragon uncut on the same tape as Bloodsport. So I had Bloodsport quite a few months before it actually came out on video. When it did actually come out on video, I persuaded my local video shop, which was a couple of miles away, to actually sell me the actual standee, which was, it's not this picture, it was a different picture. I will try and dig the pictures out, and it was a full-size standee, and I actually bought it from the local video shop. Unfortunately, then I had to walk home a couple of miles carrying Jean-Claude Van Damme under my arms. I did actually have it up in my room for about a year before, but it was that big that eventually it ended up behind a wardrobe for a couple of decades. I did actually sell it a few years ago, got quite a bit of money for it, but once it sold, I was getting lots of messages saying, oh, I'll pay you basically double what you got for it. But hey ho, that's how these things go sometimes. So let's have a look at the DVD. This is the American Region 1 release. No special features as we would look at it today. You've got an interactive menus. That was a bonus feature back in the day, and later on I got the UK release. Now let's have a look at the Steelbook. Just put it back in. That's the Steelbook. This is the J card that it comes in. I think it's called a J card. And this is the back. We'll go through the bonus features on the disc in a minute. Obviously this is the front. It does come in also 2 media books, which I'm not a big fan of the German media books, but we'll have a look at those in a minute. Obviously this is embossed, and Van Damme stands out a little bit there as well. Bolo Young, or Yangtze as he's originally known, on the back. And inside we've got Hong Kong from the Peak, taken in the late 80s. I think that's from the film as well. So let's have a look. Let's go through the special features. We've got, the first feature we've got is an uppercut into the action movie A-list, a knockout interview with Jean-Claude Van Damme. This is quite an interesting interview. I did find it strange that he didn't mention Michel Kisi or Mohammed Kisi at all in the interview at all. If you've watched any Viking Samurai or Bruce Willis interviews with Michel Kisi, you'll actually understand that Michel was there. He came over from Brussels with him. He was along for the ride. So I find it a little bit funny that Van Damme doesn't mention him, but hey ho. I'll link the videos below. You check them out and see what you think. And the second bonus feature is Blood Rights, writing a canon classic with Sheldon Lettich. I've listened to Sheldon, obviously on the Viking Samurai and other channels, and I could listen to his stories for hours and hours. He does actually have a book release, which I do need to get a copy of. And Sheldon, hopefully one day I'll be interviewing myself. The third special feature, Wham Bam, Thank You Van Damme, back in the ring with director of photography David Worth. David Worth was the director of Kickboxer, another Van Damme classic, and another one I will be covering in the future on the channel. Another inspiration. Obviously I was doing Thai boxing at the time, so a big inspiration for me then. And the next one, a supporting chance, Blood, Sweat and Stunts with Paolo Tucci. A great interview with the obviously the guy who plays the Thai boxer. He was a Thai boxer in real life, and great interview with him. He tells a few stories on his. He was also in a Jet Li film, Born to Defense, I think it's called. I did have that back on video way back in the day. Good film. I don't think a lot of people know that Jet Li actually did direct a film. It's worth tracking down if you can find it now. It's not been released since video, I don't think. The next one, Tunes to Tap Out To, the music of Paul Herzog. One of the obviously key selling points for me, as long with the film, obviously the fight scenes and Van Damme, the charisma of Van Damme, is the actual soundtrack from the film. Now, I did buy this back in the day. This is from a German company back in the day. This came out in the late 80s, early 90s. The funny thing about this release is that the songs from Stan Bush was actually covered by a different artist, a guy called Paul Delph. Later on, this is a great picture of Van Damme doing the splits at the Tiger Pavilion and at the Peak in Hong Kong. And this soundtrack, you've got Bloodsport, Lionheart, or Leon, or as we know it in the UK, Absent Without Leave, or AWOL for short. And then Cyborg, that's the rejected score, that's on this release. And later on, Perseverance Records released this one a long time later. This is from the early 2000s, I think. This is the obviously a more complete score, you could say, and featuring the songs with Stan Bush original vocals on them as well. So that's the Perseverance one. Perseverance. The next, we've got an audio commentary with Sheldon, Lettich, Paolo Tucci and James Bennett. I've not actually listened to that. I will be listening to that in the future. And then you get the theatrical trailer. So that's the bonuses on the Blu Ray and 4K. I've not actually watched it in 4K yet, as people know on my channel. I don't have any 4K kit, but I'm obviously getting quite a collection of 4K discs, so I do need to upgrade at some point in the future. A quick note on the actual transfers of the film. It absolutely looks stunning on Blu Ray. Obviously, I can't wait to watch it on 4K. The sound's pumping. The soundtrack's obviously kicking in it. It's fantastic, and I love the film itself. Now, Cape Light didn't just release this Steelbook. They actually released two Mediabook versions. There's a Mediabook 1. Obviously, these are big in Germany and other European countries. I'm not a big fan of them. I think they do get damaged quite easily. I've only got one film, which is a Shaw Brothers film, in this sort of media format, and I'm not a big fan of it. I think they can get quite damaged quite easily. But it does actually come with an actual booklet, which this doesn't. You get the discs and that's pretty much it. I have to say, I wish 88 would have got this. Obviously, it would have more or less completed their Van Damme collection. This is the only one. And with 88, as we'll find out when we cover Double Impact, they tend to go the extra little mile. You get some lobby cards. You get obviously poster. It is unfortunately folded, but you get a poster as well. They do actually give you a little bit of extra, where this one, not so much. like I said, in the Mediabook editions you do get a booklet, which apparently is quite good. I would like to get my hands on it. I wish they'd actually included it in the actual Steelbook, but hey ho, what can you do? So the artwork on the Mediabook 1 is actually the artwork which was from the standee. So that's the Van Damme I had stood up in my room for quite a number of years. And artbook 2 is the original poster. So there you go. I think you'd be happy with any of those. Obviously I'll link to my website. I've got the links to all the Steelbook and the 2 Mediabooks, and you can have a look through there. Just have a look at the pictures, see what you think. That's pretty much it today, guys. Obviously covering Bloodsport, one of my favourite films. Obviously I'd been doing martial arts for a few years before it came out, and obviously it just kept my interest, my enthusiasm, and just give me a bit of motivation. And obviously a big part of that was the soundtrack. I would actually work out. I did actually have a bit of a bike in my room, a spin bike in my room, and if I was training, and I had some weights as well, but if I was training, I'd be listening to this, Rocky 4, all the greats, The Last Dragon, just to keep myself motivated. So if you can get this, grab it while you can. It is also available on a lovely LP. So I've also just looked at, I knew that obviously Bloodsport had been released by Waxwork Records on vinyl, which looks absolutely stunning. I'm a big fan, as you know, of LP and also Laserdisc art. I don't think because of the size of it, I think it's fantastic. Would obviously make great displays if I had the room for it. But it's got a stunning, obviously, LP release, and apparently there's also a CD version. So I will link to the CD and the LP in my description, and check them out, guys. If you're obviously a big fan of the films, grab these while you can. Obviously they tend to be collector's items. This one, the original one, like I probably had for 20 years before the release of the extended cut, the extended version. So right, so that's pretty much it from me, guys, today. If you like my content, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell button, and leave a like. And if you want, leave us a comment. Let me know what you think of any of the bonus features. Obviously I think the release is fantastic. The picture quality is stunning, even on Blu Ray, and obviously the soundtrack is fantastic, so you get that pumping. Let me know what you think in the comments, guys. Until then, peace.